All right, welcome to the class, everyone. We'll begin from the top. So, all right, so today in today's class, we are beginning with the basics of research, and in this 4-day lecture series, we will be covering the basic aspects related to research. And I understand a lot of the psychology students actually struggle with research, and by this 4-day lecture series we'll try to explore various areas, various aspects related to research, and we'll try to, I am sure that after you're through with this 4-day series, you will be able to get hold of those research aspects and you will be more confident about research and statistics as a whole. Okay, so before we begin, I would like to ask all of you a question. Have you ever wondered that the scientists, researchers, they always try to locate certain answers, they always try to look for certain answers to their question, or they always want to make new discoveries. So how would they do that? If anybody wants to do research, right? Exactly, research is really important. Research is vital to any field, any area which beyond which would be progressing, which needs to be developed. So let us firstly begin by understanding research. What is research basically? First of all, the name research, so searching for something again and again, right? It's not that I have just got an answer one time. We also do replicability researches. We do various multiple times. There are researches which are done on the single topic in order to be sure about that particular research, or in order to be sure about that particular topic, right? So research is scientific in nature. Okay, it deals with the phenomena, laws of nature. We find cause and effect, consequences, relationship, etc. It is scientific, it is empirical in nature. Okay, it is systematic. There is a procedure that we follow. It is done in controlled setup. Okay, we can do our research in accordance to whatever research problem that we have. We conduct research in lab, which is a controlled environment. We would be controlling various factors such as maybe exposure to other people, interaction, right? So it is done a lot of the time in control setup. Then it is empirical in nature. It is based on experimentation, experience, right? And then it is the critical investigation or the critical examination of the hypothesis or the prediction that we have chosen. For example, I have chosen two variables such as sleep and well-being. So the amount of sleep that a person will be getting and its effect on well-being. So I will be making a hypothetical proposition, or I will be making a educated guess or a prediction on their relationship, and I will be doing a critical examination on that. Okay, why critical examination? Because we also believe in the principle of falsifiability. We also think that our research can be proven wrong, so we will be critically examining all the factors. We will be examining the flaws, the limitation to our research as well. Okay, now moving towards research problem. Whatever research you do, it always starts with a research problem. So we can say that research problem is a very important aspect or a vital aspect to our research, and research problem will always be interrogative in nature. Okay, now research problem can be about anything that you are curious about. Okay, for example, we chose the effect of sleep on well-being. Okay, so it will be just on the basis of what you are curious about, and we will begin with a major idea. Okay, for example, I want to research upon research in a particular field, such as maybe somebody is interested into clinical psychology. They want to look into the patients of depression, or maybe the prevalence of depression, right? So what will the person do? They will take a major idea, or they will take a major chunk, or the major aspect that they are interested in, and then they would be using, like for example, it is like a magnifying glass. Okay, so when you will be locating that problem, clinical psychology deals with various research areas, various disorders. So we'll be locating on a specific area from that major idea. For example, I wanted to work with wildlife animals. Okay, so there are a lot of the factors which impact the wildlife animal. So I have specifically chosen climate change. How climate change affects the wildlife animal, how climate change will affect the wildlife which is there. Okay, so you can say that initially it starts off from being a puzzle. Okay, we are not really sure about how climate change would be affecting, and what are we looking at? We are looking forward to solve this particular puzzle. Okay, so here I would like all of you to tell me any research area, or tell me any research problem that you would be interested to study. Any basic idea. Okay, stress solving. I'm sorry, I think I'm not able to understand what you're trying to say. Okay, anybody else who would like to tell us about what they are interested to study? Any major chunk, anything that you're curious about and you would like to do a research on that. Okay, alcohol reduces stress, all right. Child addiction. Okay, I don't think so there is any addiction such as child addiction. Acha, mobile addiction, all right. All right, so we have few research problem, or we have few like great ideas, everyone. Okay, now let's think about why these research problems are important. Okay, you have chosen these research areas. Aparna has chosen procrastination, psychology mindset has chosen mobile addiction, and Ishika, alcohol reduces stress. Okay, so why do you think they are important? Okay, think about it. Why, like, okay, you said that you are interested in it. If you will be doing any research in that particular area, do you think they will be beneficial for the society? They would have any kind of relevance, or is it really worth investigating? Yes, all right. So now once we know that, okay, there would be a lot of reasons, a lot of benefits. For example, alcohol reduces stress. Maybe we can say that there is a lot of alcohol addiction. There are people who are indulging into substance abuse. It's really important to study this particular area for rehabilitation centers, etc., etc. So it is worth investigating, it is worth studying, and it's not that we are just wasting our time. Now what we'll do, we have selected a specific area. We also know that, okay, it is worth studying, it has some benefits to it. Okay, so benefits are investigated, or reason of studying are investigated, and along with that we will also be doing a background check, or you can say we would always also be doing a review of literature. Now I will look at the review or the other researches, I will be, referring to various sources such as articles, such as books, right, in order to see what kind of research, what kind of knowledge do we already have in this regard. Okay? And then we would move forward with our final research problem. Okay? Now, as Ishika chose, as Aparna chose procrastination. Now, procrastination is a large area, right? There would be other aspects, there would be other variables which are, associated with it. There would be a lot of, literature available which has already done a lot of researches on procrastination. Now, that review, that reasoning will help you in formulating your final research problem. Okay? So the final research problem will be very, very specific in nature, and it will be dealing with certain variables. Okay, we will study variables after this topic. Let us see what can be the other sources of research problem. For example, here you all chose something that interested you, something that had to do with the issues faced by people, such as problem, like all the problems. For example, like psychology mindset said that they want to study mobile addiction. That is a problem faced by people, right? Alcohol consumption, problem faced by people. Procrastination also. Okay, so here people, something which is affecting people, has to do with people, something which has to do with any kind of problem faced by people, programs launched by the government or anybody. For example, whenever government tries to launch any kind of program, they want to research on that particular idea. Will that idea be successful? They do a pilot study, they do a pilot run, right? So we can take the we can use the program as a sources of research problem, or the natural phenomena such as climate change for our research problem. Okay? So selecting a research problem is a first or the vital task. We will begin with a major idea, we will move to a specific idea, we will look at the benefits, the reasons for studying that idea, we'll do a background check or a review of literature, and then finally we will be getting on to formulating our final research problem. Okay? Is it clear to everyone? If you have any query, please ask, then we would move ahead further. Alright, now moving towards variable. What is a variable? What are various types of variables that are there? So variable, something that varies. You can say that variable are the building block of our research or our research problem. Now, the research problem as told by you, they are also dealing with a particular variable. Now, for example, you chose procrastination. That is also a variable. Mobile addiction, that is also a variable. So variable are the building block of research, and these are the factors, these are the characteristics that we are interested in studying. Okay? Now variables can be of different types. Okay? We have independent variable, dependent variable, and extraneous variable. We will look at each one of them and we will try to see what's happening here. Okay, let me add another slide. Beginning with independent variable. So the example that I took initially, the effect of sleep on well-being of people. Sleep is affecting the variables. Okay? So it is having an effect on our dependent variable. So it is the independent variable here. It can be measured or manipulated. So we can measure the level of sleep. We can also, like, maybe I would have chosen sleep quality, or maybe if I have chosen the amount of sleep a person is getting, etc. Okay, so I can measure that. I can see if they are sleeping for 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, etc. Okay, Now this independent variable is of two types. It can be type E and it can be type S. Okay, somebody raised their hand. Okay, alright. So our independent variable can be of two type. It can be type S or it can be type E. Now type S is just like the word selected, something that we have just selected and we cannot manipulate it. And type E are the variables that can be manipulated. Let us take example of both type E and type S to understand it better. So we know that type E is the variable are the independent variable which can be manipulated. For example, amount of sleep. I can ask someone to sleep for like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, or maybe if I am looking at the effect of a medicine on a particular disorder X, I can manipulate, I can moderate the level of medicine given to them. Maybe I can choose that no medicine will be given to you, you will get 1 milligram of medicine, 4 milligram of medicine. So these type of independent variable are the type E independent variable, type E variables. Then we have type S variables, which are just selected. We are not manipulating them or they cannot be manipulated, such as gender. Okay? Can we manipulate the gender of the individual? No, it is just selected. Age. Can we manipulate the age of the individual? It will stay however it is. We can just take it, we can just measure it. We cannot change that particular variable. That is why it is a type S independent variable. Now in all of the examples that we have taken, we have seen one thing to be the constant. Independent variable is kind of like a stimulus or a change variable that brings about the change in the other variable that affects the other variable. For example, a stimulus is something which will have an effect or which will bring about a response. So independent variable is the stimulus variable or change variable. It can be manipulated or measured and it will have an effect on dependent variable. There are two kind of independent variable, type E and type S, and our independent variable can be categorical in nature or nominal in nature. What is categorical? For example, I have segregated into various categories. Okay? So here amount of sleep mein I took 3 categories, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, or it can be just nominal. Okay? For example, if I am taking like the age of the person, that is 20. Okay, it is just nominal. Maybe it can be like anything that I have segregated. Okay, everyone is like just 20 years of age. Simple. So participant 1, participant 2, 3, 4, whatever. So it is just nominal for the namesake. Same goes for gender, male and female. Okay, so it can be categorical or nominal. Male and female is also a kind of category. 2 categories that we have taken. So that is it about independent variable. If you have any query anywhere, please ask. Then we would move ahead further discussing about dependent variable. Clear? Something? Oh, all right. Okay. Moving ahead with dependent variable. Dependent. So the initial example that we took, the effect of sleep on our well-being, the amount of sleep basically. So here well-being is getting affected. So what is the first feature of the dependent variable? It will get affected by our independent variable. Second, this is the main variable that I am concerned about. Okay, this is the variable about which prediction will be made. Okay, and we can say that this is a response variable, या फिर this is a behavioral variable kind of. Okay, this is the stimulus which is telling us about the response. It is telling us about what effect well-being is having because of the amount of the sleep that people are getting. Okay, and in a quantitative research it will always be continuous in nature, which means that it can be defined in terms of decimals as well. We'll do all of these continuous and all of these in our next class. Okay, what do these terms mean? Okay, moving ahead to the next type of variable that we have, that is extraneous variable. Extra, something that I was not interested to study, so it would neither be our IV or DV. Okay, this is something extra, this is something that was not a part of my initial study, but still it is affecting the results of my study. Okay, for example, I wanted to see the effect of amount of sleep on well-being. So I know this is my independent variable, and this is my dependent variable. Now, for example, a person has good social relationship, good social support, it will be aiding their well-being. Or maybe there is someone who is really resilient there, like they have good level of resilience. Okay, so that will always be adding on to their well-being. Maybe, and it could be vice versa also. For example, someone has no social support, it will be decreasing their well-being level, or it will be impacting the well-being, or low, they are not resilient at all. So there are other variables which impact our results, or it will impact the whole study that we are trying to do. They are extraneous variable. Okay, now we look at two major type of extraneous variables that are there. So we can, like, it can be confounding in nature. Okay, wait, let me change the slide. Alright, yes. So our extraneous variables can be intervening in nature, or they can be confounding in nature. Intervening, something which interferes. Okay, let us take example of intervening first. So intervening, for example, I wanted to see the effect of caffeine on headache. Okay, so but the person has also not slept at all. Okay, so I can say that due to the high amount of caffeine, the person was not able to get sleep. Due to this, the headache increased. So here the extraneous variable, that is sleep, it is explaining our study. If you remember, if you have written any kind of research projects, if you have done any kind of research report writing, you must have found that there we explain the results that we get in our discussion part, right? So these variables would be useful there. So here the independent variable is causing something, that is less sleep, and which is further on impacting the outcome of the study. Okay, the second kind of extraneous variable is confounding in nature. Let me write confounding. Okay. Confounding variable will actually be disrupting the results of our study. Okay, here whatever I am locating, whatever I am studying, for example, the sleep there was actually helping our study. Okay, now let us take another example. Medicine. on headache. Now I'm looking the effect of this medicine X on headache. But the person hasn't gotten any sleep at night. Now this medicine might be really nice. It might be really impactful, but the person has not slept at all during the night, and what will happen? It will cause headache further on. So here you can say that sleep here in this particular example is disrupting our results. We wanted to check the impact on medicine on headache, but due to the less amount of sleep that a person got, the results actually got disrupted. Maybe the medicine was really nice, but because of the less amount of sleep, there was headache caused anyway, and this medicine did not actually work there. So that is about the three variables. We have read about independent variable, dependent variable, and extraneous variable. If it's clear to you, let me know, then we would move ahead to the next topic. Okay, all right. So now we can say that the variables, whatever type of variable, they are the dynamic or the ever changing component of our research, and we need to understand the cause and effect. We understood the independent variable, the dependent variable, and we also learned that there are some type of extraneous variables as well. Now moving ahead to the next topic, hypothesis. Hypothesis. You can see that hypotheses are like our superheroes. They guide us in our quest for answers or discoveries. So a hypothesis, as we also said earlier, it is like an educated guess or an educated prediction. It's like a prediction we will be making on the basis of the prior knowledge, prior observation, or the existing theories that are there. So when we undertook the research problem, we did a background check, right? So for example, in a lot of the studies, there was a particular kind of relationship which was found amongst the variables, or a particular kind of outcome was seen. So we can say that hypotheses are the tentative prediction. This is what the researcher feels would be the outcome, and it explains the relationship between two variables. So for example, when I undertook the amount of internet usage on sleep as a research problem, I also researched about these variables, and I also wanted to see what kind of relationship would be there, and I found out in a lot of the studies it was said that the more the amount, the bad sleep quality was there. So this will be a tentative prediction. It is yet to be tested. It is yet to be tested. So we will be formulating a hypothesis, and we can start with a if-then variable. So here what did we say? So if the internet usage will be high, then the sleep quality would be bad. Now let us understand how we should formulate how our hypothesis should be. The hypothesis should be simple, very specific, and conceptually clear. It should be capable of verification, and it should be related to the existing body of knowledge that is there, and it should be operationalized. Now what is operationalized? Let us understand this particular term. Now to ensure clarity and consistency in our research, we need to operationalize the variables that are there. Operational definitions are basically specify how we measure or how we quantify the variables in our study. For example, here we were investigating about the amount of internet usage on sleep. ठीक है, so first of all we might tell कि what kind of measurement we would be using, what kind of assessments we would be undertaking, and what aspect of sleep are we measuring here. For example, we took quality here, so we need to define the variables operationally कि how are we going to measure them. We are going to take specific questions. For example, if I'm formulating or if I'm making my own questionnaire or assessment, so I will be specifying those particular questions, those particular research area. ठीक है, so how will a hypothesis look like? It will look somewhat like this. Let me write a hypothesis. So it will be like कि amount of sleep affects the, क्या बोल रही हूँ मैं, उल्टा लिख दिया, चलो कोई बात नहीं. अमाउंट ऑफ स्लीप affects the well-being of an individual. For example, this is, so it should be conceptually clear. Here I should be conceptually clear कि I would be measuring the amount of sleep and how. ठीक है, if I am specifying some categories, I would be operationalizing it, and I will be operationalizing how I am going to be measuring well-being. Now, hypothesis can be of two types. Let me add another slide and write. So we have our null hypothesis and we have alternate hypothesis. ठीक है, null hypothesis. Null hypothesis, null is what? Null is empty, null is zero. So null hypothesis will be assuming that there is no relationship between the variable. It will be somewhat like कि there is no relationship between well-being and sleep. ठीक है, but alternate hypothesis is also known as the researcher's hypothesis. What we'll be doing here, we will be identifying a kind of relationship that we think would be there among the variable that we have proposed. So we will be saying that there is a relationship between well-being. ठीक है, now well-being and sleep. Now this alternate hypothesis can be written in various ways. ठीक है, here I said that there is just a relationship, but there can be different versions of it, right? For example, someone might believe that there is a positive relationship between the variables that I've chosen. There can be other people who would believe that there is a negative relationship, and there would be others who would just say that there is a relationship. Simple, they are saying that there is a relationship, but they are not identifying or they are not telling us what kind of relationship would be there. ठीक है, so in the first two cases we are identifying or we are telling a particular direction of the research, whether the direction of the research outcomes, whether the relationship would be positive in nature or negative in nature. But in the last type, we are not identifying any kind of direction. So we can say that if I am making a hypothesis which is identifying the nature of relationship, it would be a directional hypothesis. But if we are not identifying any kind of relationship, it will be a non-directional hypothesis. ठीक है, now let us look at this particular example. So I would be telling you about the research problem that I am starting in this particular area, and I would want all of you to write a null hypothesis and a alternate hypothesis. ठीक है, so here we are looking at the growth of the plant, and in one condition I am watering the plant with the distilled water, and in second condition I am watering the plant with the normal mineral water. Okay, so here I want to see in which condition the plant will grow better. The when it is being watered with a distilled, like it is being watered with distilled water, or when it is being watered with mineral water. So I would want all of you to write a particular, like write one null and alternate hypothesis on the basis of this research problem. Alright, are you able to write? You can also maybe unmute your mic and tell, that would also be fine. Okay, alright. Anybody else who has written? Okay, let's take the example that Aparna has written, and others, if you have also written, you can send it till the time. So here, what was the research problem? We wanted to see the difference in plant growth when we use distilled water and when we use mineral water. So first of all, we will write the null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is the hypothesis of no significance. So there would be no difference whatsoever. So it will say that there is no difference between the growth in plant with like watered with mineral water or distilled water. Okay. Then the alternate hypothesis, which is the researcher's hypothesis. Okay. So we can say that here, whatever the researcher feels is right, whatever is the educated guess or whatever prediction the researcher wanted to make here, the researcher can write in any way. The researcher can write simply that there is a significant, there is a difference between the growth of plant when watered with mineral water or distilled water. So that is a non-directional hypothesis. They have not identified ki what kind of like will the water plant watered, like will the plant watered with mineral water will grow more, or with distilled water will grow more. So there is no direction. So it is a non-directional hypothesis. Okay, and there can be other possibilities also. Yes, Aparna has written that can we say there can be 4 possibilities in this case. Okay, yes, we can say that there can be other 2 possibilities that we can write. We can write that mineral water, the plants watered with mineral water will grow more than distilled water, and the second condition, distilled water like will be impacting the growth of the plants more than the mineral water. Okay, so we need to understand how hypothesis is formulated. In the null hypothesis, which is determined or which is written as H naught, we will always and always be saying that there is no effect, there is no difference. Okay, and in alternate hypothesis or researcher's hypothesis, which is denoted by H1 or HA, we always write that there is a difference. Now it depends upon the researcher whether they feel whatever would be right, because it is the prediction made by the researcher. That is why it is the researcher's hypothesis. Is it clear to everyone? So now, do you think if I would ask you guys to answer any kind of or make any kind of hypothesis, you will be able to make that? Okay, so now I would want all of you to make one null hypothesis and one alternate hypothesis on your own in regard to any topic, maybe in regard to the first ideas that you gave when at the beginning of the class. ओके ठीक है. All right, now let us discuss this hypothesis written by Aparna. All right, so H naught. H naught is saying that people do not procrastinate due to lack of motivation. ठीक है. Now this is a kind of a basic statement. ठीक है. इसको हम थोड़ा अगर scientifically या conceptually clear way में लिखेंगे तो how we can write that? We can say that there is no relationship between procrastination and motivation. Correct? Now moving to the alternate hypothesis. It is written people procrastinate due to lack of motivation. ठीक है. So here you have identified a kind of relationship. You are saying that कि low motivation will increase the level of procrastination. या फिर here you can say that simply जैसे यहाँ तो you have identified a particular direction, but you can also identify or you could also have written it like there will be a relationship between procrastination and motivation. ठीक है. या फिर कि motivation will be negatively affecting level of procrastination. ठीक है. So we will try to write it as conceptually clear as we can and we will try to simplify it as much as possible. ठीक है. Now we have read about our non-directional and directional hypothesis. So here we can look at these two normal probability curves that we have. So whenever we are plotting a curve, ठीक है, these like the ending of these curve are known as tails. ठीक है. This is the positive side of the curve and this is the negative side of the curve. If you are just saying that there is a relationship, you are not identifying a direction, so it will be a two-tailed hypothesis because the result can be anywhere. The result can be towards this side and the results can be towards that side. You are just saying that there will be an impact, that's it. So it is a two-tailed hypothesis or a non-directional hypothesis. But if you are identifying a direction, if you are saying that there will be a positive effect, so you are saying that okay, it is a positive, like you are telling a direction, it will be a one-tailed hypothesis and right-tailed hypothesis या left-tailed hypothesis भी बोलते हैं. So this is a right-tailed hypothesis. ठीक है. But if you are saying that there is a negative effect, so the result will lie here and it will be a left-tailed hypothesis or directional hypothesis or a one-tailed hypothesis. ठीक है. Okay, Tia has also written an example. There is no effect of sleep on concentration level. There is an effect of amount of sleep on concentration level. Yes, very well done. ठीक है. So we are at the end of this particular class. If you have any query, please do ask, then we would wrap up the class. All right, is it clear? Yes, no, something? All right. Thank you so much and we'll be meeting tomorrow again at the same time 3 p.m. And we have understood what is research problem. We have also learnt about variables, various type of variables, and we have learnt about hypothesis and different kind of hypotheses which are there. And tomorrow we'll begin with the next topics. We'll begin with hypothesis, errors and all. ठीक है. So That's it for today. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye. Take care.